Now, I've been trying to get some information on Deshaun Watson, football information, and whether it was somebody with the Players Association or the NFL, just trying to figure out what can happen to Deshaun Watson. Because there's a big difference between the civil and criminal charges. And it's really important to understand this with Deshaun Watson and his football future. Because the NFL knows that the different courses of legal action here, criminal charges, that could take 6 months. That could take you into the season. Then the NFL would put Watson on the commissioner's exempt list. They did this with Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson. They did this as well. So then Watson's not going to be on the field, but he'll be given full pay if it's a criminal case against him and he's on the commissioner's exempt list. Now, right now, there's no criminal charges that have been filed. It's civil charges. The commissioner's exempt list would probably not be able to be used if it's a civil case or cases against him, from what I'm told. And therefore, he would then be losing his money. He's supposed to be getting $10 million, almost $11 million this year. But if he can't play, he sits out, then he doesn't get that money if it's a civil lawsuit. That's why it's tricky right now. You have, a number of women who have come forward. No criminal charges have been filed, at least not yet. And if you hear criminal charges, then all of a sudden things get even tougher for Deshaun Watson or a team that wants to trade for him. And I know there have been reports, I don't have any information on this, that there are teams that are still interested, including one team that will probably continue to be interested, Carolina. But there's probably 3 or 4 teams. But this is what's going to happen. The draft is a little more than a month away. Now, once that happens, does Carolina get its quarterback? Does Denver get its quarterback? Are the Niners moving up to get a quarterback? So now all of a sudden, if you are using some of your draft picks to move up, you're not going to be able to use those draft picks for Deshaun Watson. Because Watson, if this is somehow settled out of court, you're still going to have to spend a lot. You're going to have to give up a lot of draft picks here. And if you're using draft picks or a high draft pick to take your quarterback, you're not going to be able to be in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Those are just some of the things that you should at least be aware of. And I just want to approach this from a football perspective, because the other stuff off the field, until I know if it's a criminal charge or criminal charges, then that changes a lot with Deshaun Watson. And that means he's not going to be traded. Not anytime soon. Teams in the draft looking for a quarterback are probably going to draft a quarterback and not be waiting for Deshaun Watson or use that draft pick as a package for Deshaun Watson. That's all I have for you on it. It's a story that's kind of simmering there, but it feels like it's either all or nothing here. He denied everything, but there are a lot more women coming forward. At least 10. But no criminal charges. That's what I want to keep an eye on, and you should keep an eye on, because that will change. That could change what your team does. That could change Deshaun Watson's future. I mean, you got to think about this, that if he's guilty of this, these are, if they're criminal charges, he's going to prison. As much as we want to look at this, say, oh, they'll settle that out of court. If they're criminal charges, now you're looking at a guy's future in prison. This could be something where by the draft it's settled, or it could be really, really bad. But that's going to depend on the criminal charges.